camera on. Don't be shy. Awesome. Everybody turn your camera on. We're getting there. This is great. Few more cameras.
Come on, guys, come on.
Turn them on. So there we go. Awesome. And we'll just give Toby all the way from the UK. Toby, welcome. We're just doing a bit of a lead-in kind of exercise here, a bit of a scavenger hunt. So you get to just observe this time. So here's the thing to do. Hold your thing up towards the camera. It looks really funky with the green screen behind. Hold your thing up, whatever it is, hold it up so people can see. Awesome. So just notice, keep them up, keep them up. Take a look at the ones around, what other people are holding. And just notice what you're assuming about the person's week. Right? There's no explanation, there's no background. There's no understanding beyond being able to see this. So just notice what you're assuming. So that's what this is about. Thank you. You can put them down. That's what this is about, right? When we talk about coaching the problem versus coaching the person, when we coach the problem, quite often we're making a lot of stuff up about what's really going on, what really has this person stuck. And that's why this is important. Because if we're coaching from those assumptions, the outcome is going to be dramatically different than if we can get down into what's actually going on. So a couple things here before we get started. First, if you've never heard me before, I love creating connected spaces. And as coaches, that's what it's all about. So if at all possible, I would love you to leave your camera on throughout this whole time. As well, feel free to leave yourself unmuted. Obviously, if you've got excessive background noise, fine, leave yourself muted, but leave yourself unmuted. It's those things that allow us to stay connected. So let's get into it here. Coaching a problem or coaching a person. So let's hear from a couple people. When you hear me say coach a problem, what comes up for you? What does that mean to you if I'm coaching the problem? Somebody just unmute and go ahead and jump in there.
Sure, I'll go. So, for example, if you're trying to coach a person, it's not really going to work because you don't know what the problem is. But if somebody comes to the problem, for example, say somebody wants to make a certain amount of figure a year. Now you know the problem, so now you can backtrack it and figure out what you need to do with the little steps to get them to that example, the figure that they want to make.
Okay, yeah, cool. Any other thoughts? Let's hear from one more person.
I can say probably in the problem you're thinking is the problem, is not the actual problem.
Say more about that, bro.
So basically, if you think you're coaching the problem, that might not be the problem the coachee wants to solve. And you're not fulfilling the full potential of the coachee.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Oh, April, please go ahead.
The problem is usually like, don't want to sound therapize it, right? But the problem is usually like the symptom of like the actual underlying cause of what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you. And person, if I say you're coaching the person, what does that mean to you? What's coming up for you? Again, let's hear from a couple people. What does it mean to you if I say coach the person?
It doesn't feel very specific because it's not like you just coach a person. Usually you help them with a specific thing that they want to be coached with. Because like you can coach a person, but where are you coaching them? There you got to have like a directive or a goal, I feel. Sorry, that's my opinion.
Yeah, no. Yeah, thank you. One other person. What's your thought? Coaching a person, what does that mean to you?
I think it means asking questions so that they can come to the realization and figure out what the limiting belief is on their own, and then create a plan of action from there. That's in alignment with them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So the way I think about these two things, all of these answers were good. At a simple level, the way I tend to think about it is if I'm coaching a person, if I'm coaching their problem, I'm actually coaching something external to them, right? I'm focused on, using Nathan's example, the money they want to make, or the team they're struggling with, or whatever it is. If I'm coaching a problem, it's external. If I'm coaching a person, it's internal. And I like what you said there, April. You know, for example, it could be, what's the limiting belief that's stopping them from getting to where they want to go? So in coaching, you know, as a coactive coach, one of the cornerstones for that model is that I consider everybody naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. So I assume they already have everything they want. They just need to get out of their own way, right? And so in coaching the problem, I'm not actually helping them get out of their own way. I'm actually helping them figure out a path forward with actions and whatever. But if I can help them understand why they're stuck, if I can help them get unstuck, then I'm actually building more resiliency and more tenacity to keep moving forward when they encounter these things again. To use April's words, we start to break down that limiting belief. And the limiting belief will become smaller and smaller. So as they encounter other issues, the limiting belief becomes less of a problem. What questions are coming up about that?
I have a question for you. It's Victoria.
Yes, welcome.
Hi, it's my first time here. You were just saying that you're coaching a problem. What does mean coaching a problem? It's like, in my understanding, it's you have a goal and you want to reach it. So now you're breaking into steps. So this is what does mean coaching a problem?
Not kind of. When we're talking about coaching the problem, yes, they come with a goal. Yes, they come with some kind of problem they want to work on. But if we're coaching the problem, quite often what we end up doing is giving them advice and trying to help them figure out how to take steps forward, as opposed to building a strength that's inside that person already, right? So they come with a goal and it gives us a focal point to move towards, right? And something has them stuck. Otherwise, they'd already be at their goal. And so that thing that has them stuck is what it means to coach the person. Great question, Victoria. We're going to expand on this a little bit more here, right? And it'll help to understand this. So for the moment, just hold it as, if we're coaching the problem, I'm coaching something other than the person. It's something external to the person. If I'm coaching the person, I'm actually working on the story that has them stuck. The story, the mindset, the saboteurs, the limiting belief, whatever it is, right? So just hold that for a few minutes here as we continue. So in a moment
when you're coaching the person, you're looking more like on a person's personality, on a person's behavior perspective, on a person's limitations and all of this stuff. You're looking more individual approach.
Yeah.
And when you're coaching a problem, it's a general.
Yeah, you're trying to solve the problem itself, as opposed to helping them tap into what makes them who they are.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Victoria. So in a moment here, I'm going to tell you a story. It's an actual problem that I have in my life. I'm only going to spend about a minute talking about it. And what I want you to do while I'm telling you this story is I want you to think about, what's the topic? So let's pretend you're my coach, I'm your client. You just said to me, Mike, what would you like to work on today? Right? So what you're listening for is, what's my topic? So here's my story. So a little under a year ago, my mom passed away. It was hard. We went through the grieving, probably still grieving, I would assume. The real problem that I'm bringing here for coaching today is my dad. My dad's 83 years old, and he's stubbornly insisting on staying in his house and even driving. Now, that may not sound like a huge deal, but his mobility is so bad, there's no way he should be driving. Then when it comes to wanting to go out, try to hold him back. Like in this time of COVID, he wants to go out. He wants to, go get his haircut. He wants to go get the dog groomed. He wants to, and we keep offering to do these things for him, but he's just so stubborn about wanting to go out by himself. And of course, we're really worried for him. So I'm going to stop there. What's my topic?
I think it's a personal concern about the situation with your dad.
So something personal about the situation?
Yes,
Okay.
and how to handle it in a better way.
Okay. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Can you repeat the question one more time, actually?
Yeah. So when you heard that story, right, if you're my coach, right, I told you that story. So now what's the topic that you think I'm bringing to you?
I would have to ask you a few more questions before I would even start to hazard a guess on what the topic is. Like I would probably reframe and reflect first, see if I'm hearing what you're saying correctly, and then ask a few questions to dig deeper and figure out what the topic is.
Cool. Hold that for a sec. We're going there next. So
Sorry.
Thank you. Nope, nothing to apologize for. What do you think my topic might be?
If it's just for the guessing about the topic, so it could be your worry about your dad's situation.
Okay.
Or it could be a difference of opinion between your dad and you.
Could be. Could be.
I would say frustration with your dad.
Okay. Any other thoughts? What could the topic be in that?
Or your dad is missing your mom and he wants to spend some time with someone else, some other people in the family.
Yeah. So here's the thing with all of those, all of them are possibles. Absolutely. Right? If you're going to coach me, you need to understand what's the problem going on inside of here, right? As opposed to what's going on for my dad, right? Or even the relationship with my dad. For you to say, oh, obviously there's a relationship issue going on with my dad, you're immediately shifting to the problem without knowing for sure what's going on inside of here, right? But all of them are possible. And I have this saying, and you're going to hear it again in a minute, is when it comes to coaching, dare to be wrong and let go if you are, right? Don't hold it as your agenda. So how do you get that out? In April, you gave us this beautiful segue there. I'm just going to call everybody, if you can open up chat for a second here. Oops, yep, there we go. So I just pasted, what is that, 6 things into there. There's many different ways to get to what's the actual topic. And this is what April was talking about a minute ago here, right? There's many different ways you can get there. And don't look at anything I'm putting up here as a prescriptive thing. As in coaching in general, follow your intuition on these things. Right? Like what's the right question or the right phrasing? Do what's natural for you. But here's when I was preparing for this, these are some of the ones that, I thought I probably commonly say. So when somebody describes their problem to you, they usually when you say, hey, what do you want to work on today? Nobody ever goes straight to, or sorry, very rare do people go straight to, I want to work on that little story I have that's keeping me stuck. They tell you a story, right? Like I did. Well, I'm really kind of frustrated with my dad and blah, 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 blah. They tell you this story. And the way to get to the problem is to ask one of these kinds of questions or some kind of clarifying question. One of my favorites is the top one. What's the problem in this for you? Right? So I'll acknowledge your story. So I hear you. There's a lot going on with your dad. What's the problem in this for you? Right? I'll make it really clear I'm talking about them now. How does this problem leave you feeling? Right? Sometimes if you can get them talking about their feelings, it'll start to become obvious what's going on for them. What has you feeling stuck? Just ask them outright, right? You're frustrated.
May I ask you a question? May I interrupt you?
Yeah, sure.
But when you were saying to ask you a question about what's the problem for you in this story, but you described so many, as April pointed out, you described so many different problems in your story that we can break it down. So if I will ask you what's the main issue for you, you can also start to describe me all of them. Then I will be in the beginning where I don't know what's your problem.
Right. And our clients do that to us too. Right. When we say, what do you want to work on? They quite often will tell us a story that involves many different problems. Right? Things that are going on in their world that has them frustrated or stuck or whatever. And that's why it's so important to start getting into what's the problem going on inside? What has them stuck? What has them overwhelmed or frustrated or whatever it is? Right? It's also okay to say, hey, I heard a whole bunch of problems in there. Which one's most important to you? Right? Which one seems like the most relevant one to start with or something like that? So Victoria, absolutely. I gave you a whole bunch of problems in there and that's what happens, right? The important thing is what's going on inside of the person. That's what you want to get down to. Other things you could say to them. I will often listen for words they're saying. Right? I know I said frustrated once. Sometimes they'll talk about being frustrated once. They might talk about it 4 times. I'll actually call it out. I noticed you're talking about feeling frustrated. What is that frustration? Right? I'll actually name it. Or they might say the word angry, or they might say the word confused or overwhelmed, like whatever they say, just play it back to them and ask about it. Get really curious. And then finally, the last one I have here is sometimes kind of like, you know, some of the things you were saying in response to my story, I'll just name it. Sounds like you're pretty frustrated with your dad, right? And add a powerful question at the end of it, right? Dare to be wrong. Because here's what I know is when you are wrong, your clients won't remember, right? All they remember is the outcome from the coaching. April?
I find like sometimes when you're wrong, that actually like stops whatever that I don't want to call it like that ramble or that like overwhelm spiral. It like stops it and they actually go, no, actually that's not, you know, what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling. Like this is actually it, right?
Yeah, absolutely, April. Thank you. That's the thing with being wrong. Sometimes that's what jars them loose. Sometimes that's what gets them onto a better track. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Victoria, I heard your voice there. Did you have something?
I agree with April. I have the same experience as she did.
Awesome.
It's very common. Yeah.
Yeah. The big part about it is when you are wrong is don't make it about you. So pre-COVID times and hopefully post-COVID times, I'm a drummer in a marching band. And when we're marching up the street, if you drop a stick, the absolute worst thing you could do is worry about going to get it, because then everybody notices. It's why we carry extra sticks, right? In coaching, it's kind of the same thing. You may notice you were wrong, your client won't, right? Kind of like April and Victoria have pointed to, they'll correct you. Perfect, let's keep going. So dare to be wrong when it comes to those kinds of things. The important thing is, if you don't get down to the right topic, if you start coaching the problem, you're more likely to have a coaching conversation that meanders, right? And doesn't really get to the heart of the matter. Now, you might notice in your coaching conversation, it's meandering anyway. You started it off, you asked the right questions, you got down to, okay, I think I have the real topic here. And you start off and you notice it's starting to meander. And when I say meander, sorry, let me clarify, it feels more like a nice conversation than a real impactful coaching conversation. If that's happening, it's one possible, or it's a sign that what could be going on, you don't really have the right topic. And so you may want to pause it and just check in on that. All right, we're going to go to breakout rooms in a minute here. We're going to work in pairs. What do we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We got 9 people. Oh, sorry, Mariette and Sabita, will you go to breakout as well?
We can go if you want to increase the participation. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if one of you can go, because then we'd have even pairs.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Oh, somebody just dropped, so it may not be. Anyway, whenever we get there, Sabita, if you can just do it with pairs, and one of you if need be. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to spend a total of 8 minutes together. Actually, we'll make it 10. We'll make it around 10. You're going to spend 10 minutes together, and it's to practice the skill of getting into the topic. So the way this will work is when you get to the breakout room, one of you will immediately go, I'm first. Okay, somebody just jump in, because there's always that awkward moment at the beginning, and say, I'll go first. What it means to go first is you're going to share a problem, kind of like I did. Now, you're only going to have a few minutes each, so you don't got to give them a huge story, kind of like I did. Give 30 seconds to a minute. The other person, you're going to be the coach, and your job is to listen to that story so that you can help get down to the topic, right? What's that thing going on inside the person? You can use one of the questions I have there. And if you haven't already, you may want to copy them out if that's going to be helpful, or just follow your intuition. Because, yeah, if you don't know, that chat will disappear when you go to the breakout rooms. So if you want what I put in the chat, do a copy paste now. So first person's going to share their problem, 30 seconds to a minute maximum. The second person's going to help them get clarity on what's the problem that's going on for them. What's that story? What's a saboteur? What's the stuck spot? Whatever it is. Wherever you get, this isn't about brilliant coaching, it's about practicing. Wherever you get is perfect. At the end of a few minutes, switch it around and do it again the other way around. The last few minutes here together, spend a couple minutes talking about what are you learning about finding that topic. Any questions before we send you off? Cool. If you're stuck, message. If you don't know, if you go into the breakout room button at the bottom, once you're in the breakout rooms, message Sabita and she'll send me off to the whatever room's needed. Awesome. All right, have fun with this. Practice it, see where you get with it. When we come back, we'll spend a few more minutes debriefing and talking about the experience.
How many minutes?
We're going to do a total of 10 minutes, and I'll set a timer. So you went out into the breakout, you went both directions, you helped each other find the topic. What are you learning about helping people find the topic? And I just want to be transparent here. This is now wide open. What are you observing? What questions do you have? Whatever's coming up for you.
I think April helped me to realize that something in my topic is much more that I have to think something, look something inside, deeper inside what happens. I think she, by her questions, helped me to realize that I need to think about this more.
Yeah, it's actually I find one of the most important parts of the coaching conversation up front. And if you rush it too quickly, if you don't ask those clarifying questions, the powerful questions, and dig, right, you end up kind of missing the real problem. Yeah. So first, congratulations, Victoria, for getting some clarity there. And by the way, I also meant to say, we don't need to talk. In fact, I don't want us to talk about whatever your topic is. It's the experience and, what did you learn about finding a topic? So thanks for sharing that, Victoria. Other thoughts?
It's just April was so good.
Thank you, Victoria. That's so nice. Thank you.
It's a true thing.
Without revealing her topic, April, can you share what did you do to help her get there?
I reflected what I was hearing, but not like the actual detail, just the essence of what it was that I was picking up from what she was saying. And then I just asked some questions like, so I said, I'm hearing that you're feeling a lot of this. So what is it about that makes you, and then a few things came up. So then I just asked, okay, so out of those, which one is the most pressing? And then we kind of and then I just kept going with it. And depending on what answer she gave me, it depended on the open-ended question, right? And sometimes some close-ended questions that I asked.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I also make up, you were probably going until you felt that you were at the topic.
Yeah, I could have went deeper, could have went farther. We were we were at the topic, but yeah, I could have yeah.
So
what is important here, Mike, she didn't get personal with me. She didn't try to say like you're wrong in here or you're wrong in this one. She didn't do that. She was very diplomatic in approach the way she asked the questions. It was kind of like a question that I was willing to answer because I'm very personal, very close person. I will not discuss, but she kind of, without intimidating me, brought it out.
Yeah, it actually creates an air of safety. And I think what I'm hearing there in that is her questions came with no judgment or no direction. They were just wide open questions, right? Coming from a place of curiosity. And that's really important when we're getting to the topic, because as soon as our agenda goes in there, as soon as our judgment or feelings or whatever, as coach, as soon as we enter that in there, it's possible you're going to take them away from their topic, or they're going to stop moving towards it. When you're asking those questions, trust what you're feeling as coach. Right? It's kind of like, does everybody know the 5 why exercise, the common troubleshooting kind of exercise? Yes, why 5 times until there's the thing, right? That's what you're going for, right? keep going in. Don't ask why. That's not a great question to ask. But what's this and what about that and so on. Keep asking those powerful questions and until you hit the one where it's like, and you can feel the resonance of what's going on. Trust that, it's real. Awesome, thank you. What else are you learning about finding a topic?
Be a good listener.
Absolutely. And I think recently you had a session on listening, correct? Wasn't that Emery that did one on listening? And it's the 3 levels of listening, right? And so you want to listen at, well, if you're in level 1, you're in your own head, right? If that starts happening, voice mirror, do something, get connected to your client. At least listen at the level 2, listen to the words they're saying. Better yet, listen at the level 3. That's where you're going to hear what's important to them. Because you're chasing, you're going to be hearing the dissonance or resonance that's going on for them. And trust it, it's real. Cool. One more thought or question or anything.
I just wanted to share one recommendation, and is that if you, the intention behind having this conversation is that as a coach, you give the space for the client to actually express all the ideas. So you will see in some of the sessions, most of the talking will be performed by the actual client instead of the coach. So just give them some time to articulate the ideas. And sometimes even if we pause and we don't say anything, it's because maybe something is happening in that head that's going to come out and it's going to answer some of the questions in there. Just keep that in mind. In the second recommendation is around using a lot of open-ended questions instead of just closed-ended questions, because that's going to usually give you to just a yes or a no, which is not going to provide a lot of information in there. And I think we have already a session about open-ended questions.
Yes.
So use all those different things that we already discussed previously and try to apply that in the conversation as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially in this part, well, throughout the whole thing, but in this part of finding a topic, the powerful question, those open-ended questions, get them to think and go deeper. And a little tactic, because I love what you said there, a little tactic that I used when I first started coaching 6 years ago, I was really good at filling blank spaces. Right? I'd ask somebody a question, like not in coaching, but I'd ask a question or say something, and if it got like kind of that awkward silence, I'd be in there with something else. So how I trained myself to stop doing that was to count to 10 up here quietly. So ask a question and let the pause happen. And if that's a struggle for you, it's a really simple tactic that forces the pause to be there. Right? To show the extreme, because in coaching, silence is a good thing, right? Let the awkward silence happen. At the extreme, I have one client, this is several years ago, I asked her a question and she went quiet for 8 minutes. And I actually had to look at my phone because I wondered if we got disconnected or something, right? But she was in her own process. It was so important. A breakthrough happened after that. And trust them, if they're not doing that, they're going to tell you. So thank you, Mary. That was beautiful, absolutely. Cool. So we're kind of coming towards the end of our time here, and I want to honor that time. So I have one more piece for you. Of the people here, I know at least a couple are Agile coaches. Are other people Agile coaches as well? By show of hands? Wave your hand. Cool. So in Agile coaching, so we've been talking about the professional skill of coaching. right? In agile coaching or being a scrum master or whatever your role, we're also called on to teach people and to mentor people and to take a number of different stances. Coaching is just one of them. Regardless of your context, if that's true for you, what I know is sometimes when I'm in that stance, not a pure coaching kind of role, when I'm in that stance where I could be called on in many different ways, sometimes I'll start down the path of coaching and I keep bumping into, man, this doesn't feel like a coaching conversation. This feels like these people just need some advice or teaching or whatever it is. What's really, really important here is it's totally possible that's true. It's happened to me many times. Stop and ask permission. It's really like it would go like something like this. So I was starting down the path of coaching, which of course means I'm just going to ask you lots and lots of questions and provide observations and that kind of stuff. But it's really feeling like you just want me to teach you something or give you some advice. Is that true? Right? I'll be that explicit. A lot of times they go, yep, that's true. And so we pivot. Other times they say, nope, I want coaching. Okay, we stay there. Right? So ask permission and don't be afraid to pivot to another one. Don't beat them over the head with coaching if that's not what they're looking for. April, I saw your hand.
I even ask permission if I have a resource or a book or something that I feel would be beneficial. I'll always say, are you open to resources? Because I have something that you may find helpful, right? And then let them answer that way, right? Even sometimes to offer a reframe, because they're just not in that, they're kind of teetering, they kind of need it, but you're not kind of, so even after, may I offer a reframe,
Absolutely. I'll use the phrase, I have something for you. Do you want it? Right? That's a reframe kind of thing. Absolutely. Permission, 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 if you're going to shift out of coaching, right? Because even a reframe is arguably out of coaching. Offering a book suggestion out of coaching, right? It's okay to do it. Ask permission. Cool. I am at the end of the material here. So let's hear from one quick thing from everybody. What's one thing you're taking away from here?
One thing I would say is a little bit of a different perspective on what I thought more so coaching was. Versus what you just explained in the end, how you can sort of just coach somebody and then if you have to pivot and do something else and give advice instead. And then, yeah, just more to take a different look on it and that there's more to it than just what I thought, I guess.
Awesome. Very nice. Thank you. Who else?
Yeah, I'm taking away dare to be wrong.
I'm sorry, Ro, could you say that again?
Dare to be wrong.
Yes, dare to be wrong. And if you drop that stick, just let it go. You got another one. Don't worry about it. Awesome. What else?
I think for me, it's more when we were talking about what's different between coaching a goal, coaching a problem, a person. So for me, I might be wrong, but I had a feeling that whenever I speak with somebody, I always try to get personal with him or with her, but I don't have to because this is a coaching problem. It's not,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
And
you have
even
to approach it as a coaching problem.
yes.
But then you're looking at a specific direction where the person leads you.
Right.
She might have 10 different feelings, but once I always did a mistake when I talk with the person, I assume this is what she wanted to say, but it was completely different. And you show that, and April also show that it's global. each person is a global, but then you're getting into the
Yeah.
individual. So this is for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Victoria. Yeah, and the important thing in there is if they talk about a problem they're having, like if you know the problem I described with my dad, if the coach would say, "Oh yeah, that really sucks how it's going," right? We're actually done coaching at that point. They validated my position, right? So it's really important to not make it personal. Here's the thing, though: you're human. It's your clients are going to bring you things that are going to have an impact emotionally on you. Emotionally, feelings, triggers, whatever it is. Don't deny them, they're real. Right? Put them aside though, focus on your client. Cool. Any other thoughts? Last words. Awesome.
But the
So-
client is anybody.
Oh, go
Client
ahead.
is not client. Client is my friend. It's also a client. Client is anybody.
Yeah,
It's
and
not client who is paying me the money. Client is can be my friend, my brother, my dad, my mom.
yes,
At this moment, he will be a client for me.
yeah. There's a lot of discussion in the professional coaching community. And in fact, even in the coactive program, they tell you, don't coach your friends, don't coach your family. It generally creates a conflict of interest that takes away the effectiveness of you as coach, and won't allow them to do the deeper work they need to do. However, if you find yourself in that position, don't stealth coach them. Some people will come to me, they want like 2 minutes of coaching, right? Okay, let's talk, right? But I'm really explicit about what I'm about to do, right? Make sure there's permission there. Do not stealth coach people, right? That's a really bad idea. Awesome. Well, this was really exciting to be here. I love the idea of a coaching kata because the only way to build a coaching skill is to do it, right? To keep learning, to keep expanding on it, to get different perspectives. And so it was really, I thought it was really cool that this meetup exists. So thank you so much for having me here. It was, I loved this. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Mike. It was really fun to have you here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate
See
it.
you guys.
Enjoy the
Bye.
rest of your evening.
Thank you.